All right, everyone, and a super warm welcome to you all. It's genuinely fantastic to have you tuning in today. Before we dive headfirst into this truly mind-bending topic of plants that actually eat insects, which sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie, right? I just want to take a quick moment to send out some really positive energy your way. Wherever you are, whatever you're up to, I truly hope you're feeling strong, healthy, and full of vitality. Take good care of yourselves, okay? Now, let's unravel this fascinating mystery. Why on earth would a plant, something we usually think of as just sitting peacefully in the soil soaking up sunshine, decide to snack on a fly or an ant? It seems completely bizarre at first glance, doesn't it? We picture plants as the ultimate peaceful beings, rooted in place, making their own food from sunlight, water, and air through that amazing process called photosynthesis. They're the producers, the foundation of the food chain, not the predators. So, the idea of a Venus flytrap snapping shut on an unsuspecting insect, or a pitcher plant drowning one in a pool of liquid, feels strangely out of character. But here's the thing, nature is all about adaptation and survival, about finding a way to thrive even when the cards seem stacked against you. For these extraordinary carnivorous plants, turning the tables and eating animals, well, mostly insects and other tiny critters, isn't a choice. It's a brilliant, desperate solution to a serious problem they face in their homes. The key reason boils down to one word: nutrients, specifically, the kind that usually come from the soil. Imagine you're a plant trying to grow. You need sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide from the air for photosynthesis to make your sugars. That's your energy food. But you also need other essential building blocks to actually construct your leaves, stems, roots, and flowers. Think of elements like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, and others, the minerals. Most plants have it relatively easy. They send their roots down into nice, rich soil. That soil is teeming with life, billions of tiny bacteria and fungi that break down dead leaves, dead insects, animal waste, and other decaying organic matter. This decomposition process releases those vital minerals into the soil water, and the plant roots simply soak them up like a sponge. It's like having a well-stocked supermarket right beneath your feet. Now, picture a very different kind of neighborhood. Imagine a place where the ground isn't rich and fertile. Instead, it's constantly wet, acidic, and incredibly poor in nutrients. Places like soggy bogs, where waterlogged conditions prevent proper decomposition. Or the surfaces of rocky cliffs where there's barely any soil at all. Or sandy, leached-out soils where heavy rains constantly wash away any minerals before plants can grab them. These are the tough neighborhoods where many carnivorous plants call home. In these harsh environments, the soil is like an empty cupboard. Those crucial nutrients, especially nitrogen and phosphorus, which are vital for making proteins and DNA, are incredibly scarce or locked away in forms the plants can't easily access. It's like trying to build a house with no bricks or cement. You have the energy, sugars from photosynthesis, but you lack the raw materials. So, what's a plant to do? Give up? Not a chance. Evolution is relentless and incredibly creative. Over millions of years, some plants in these nutrient-poor environments started experimenting. They began to develop special features, tiny modifications at first, that allowed them to capture and digest small creatures, primarily insects and spiders. Why insects? Because insects are basically little packets of concentrated nutrients. They're rich in nitrogen and phosphorus, exactly the stuff missing from the soil. Think of them as flying or crawling vitamin pills for these struggling plants. By evolving ways to trap and consume insects, these plants found an alternative source for the minerals they desperately needed. It wasn't about replacing photosynthesis for energy, it was about supplementing their terrible diet of mineral-poor soil with a high-protein insect snack to get those essential building blocks. The ways these plants capture their prey are nothing short of astonishing engineering feats, developed through evolution. They didn't invent claws or teeth, they worked with what they had, modified leaves. It's like repurposing your hand into a net, a sticky pad, or a snapping jaw. Let's look at some of the incredible strategies. The Venus flytrap is probably the most famous and dramatic. Its leaves are hinged in the middle and lined with sensitive trigger hairs. When an unsuspecting insect brushes against these hairs, once, nothing happens, to avoid wasting energy on raindrops or wind-blown debris, but twice within about 20 seconds. Snap. The two lobes of the leaf clamp shut incredibly quickly, trapping the insect inside. The leaf then transforms into a temporary stomach. It secretes digestive enzymes, powerful chemicals that break down the insect's soft tissues, turning it into a nutrient-rich soup that the leaf can absorb. After several days, the trap reopens, revealing the empty, indigestible shell of its victim. It's a slow but effective process. Then there are the pitcher plants. These are the master trappers that use passive pitfalls. Their leaves are modified into tall, hollow tubes or pitchers, often beautifully colored and sometimes scented like nectar to lure insects in. The rim of the pitcher is slippery, often coated with wax or downward-pointing hairs. An insect, attracted by the color or smell, lands on the rim looking for food or nectar. One wrong step and it slips on the treacherous surface, tumbling down into the pitcher's depths. At the bottom awaits a pool of liquid. This isn't just rainwater, it's a special digestive fluid secreted by the plant. Sometimes, rainwater dilutes it, but the plant adds its own enzymes or hosts bacteria that help with the decomposition. The insect drowns and is slowly digested, its nutrients absorbed by the inner walls of the pitcher. Some tropical pitcher plants are big enough to trap not just insects, but occasionally small rodents, lizards, or even birds. Sundews take a different, almost sinisterly beautiful approach. Their leaves are covered in hundreds of tiny, hair-like stalks, each tipped with a glistening drop of sticky, sweet mucilage. It looks like morning dew, hence the name sundew. To a thirsty insect, it looks like a refreshing drink. But as soon as it lands and touches the sticky droplets, it's trapped, like a fly on flypaper. The more the insect struggles, the more entangled it becomes. And here's the cool part, the sundew leaf isn't passive. Those sticky tentacles are actually mobile. They slowly bend towards the struggling prey, bringing more sticky glands into contact and effectively smothering it. Once the insect is thoroughly stuck, the leaf secretes digestive enzymes right onto it, dissolving the soft parts, and then absorbs the nutrients. It's a slow-motion embrace of doom. Butterworts are similar but less showy. They have flat, ground-hugging leaves covered in a sticky substance. Insects get stuck when they land, and the leaf margins may slowly curl inwards to increase contact. Bladderworts, often aquatic or in very wet soil, are perhaps the most sophisticated and fastest hunters. They have tiny, hollow bladder-like traps underwater or in the soil. These bladders are under negative pressure, like a collapsed plastic bottle. They have a tiny trapdoor surrounded by trigger hairs. When a microscopic organism like a water flea or even a tiny tadpole brushes the hairs, the trapdoor flings open in milliseconds. Water, and the prey, rushes in violently to fill the vacuum. The door slams shut, all in less than 1/100th of a second, faster than the blink of an eye. Digestive enzymes are then secreted inside the bladder to break down the prey. It's one of the fastest movements in the entire plant kingdom. So, we understand the why, nutrient poverty, and the how, ingenious traps. But let's think about the bigger picture. This isn't just a random quirk, it's a complex trade-off. Building and maintaining these elaborate traps, the sensitive hairs, the snapping mechanisms, the sticky glands, the digestive enzymes, costs the plant a significant amount of energy. It's a big investment. For a plant living in reasonably good soil, this wouldn't make sense. It would be like building a complicated fishing rod when you live next to a fully stocked grocery store. The energy cost of the trap wouldn't be worth the reward. But for plants stuck in nutrient deserts, the payoff is huge. The energy spent building the trap is more than compensated for by the valuable nitrogen, phosphorus, and other minerals obtained from the prey, allowing them to grow, photosynthesize more effectively, and ultimately, reproduce in a place where other plants simply couldn't survive. It's a brilliant evolutionary adaptation born out of necessity. You might wonder, how did this even start? How does a plant decide to start eating bugs? It didn't decide, of course. It happened through the slow, relentless process of natural selection over millions of years. Imagine ancestral plants living in these poor soils. Some might have had leaves that were slightly stickier than others, perhaps to deter pests. Maybe an insect landed, got stuck, died, and decomposed right there on the leaf. By chance, a tiny bit of nutrient washed down to the leaf surface and was absorbed. That plant got a tiny, accidental boost. Over generations, plants with mutations that made them slightly stickier, or slightly better at absorbing nutrients from accidental catches, had a slight advantage. They grew a bit better, produced more seeds. The mutations continued, maybe a slight cupping of the leaf that held water and drowned insects, maybe a leaf that could bend slightly. Step by tiny step, generation by generation, these accidental benefits became refined into the specialized, complex traps we see today. It's evolution in action, driven by the relentless pressure of a harsh environment. It's also important to remember that carnivorous plants aren't replacing photosynthesis with carnivory, they are supplementing it. They still absolutely need sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide to make their sugars for energy. Eating insects provides the essential minerals they can't get enough of from the soil. Think of them as plants that have added a unique form of fertilizer gathering to their lifestyle. They haven't turned into full-blown animals, they've just found an incredibly creative way to solve a specific problem of nutrient deficiency. And they play a role in their ecosystem too. While they prey on insects, they also provide microhabitats. Some tiny insects and spiders actually live safely on pitcher plants or sundews, immune to the traps, feeding on the insects that do get caught or scavenging the leftovers. Even the drowned insects in pitcher plants support entire communities of bacteria, protozoa, and mosquito larvae that live in the pitcher fluid and help break down the prey, a tiny, self-contained ecosystem. So, the next time you see a picture of a Venus flytrap or a graceful pitcher plant, remember the incredible story behind its strange diet. It's not a monster, it's a survivor. It's a testament to the power of evolution to find solutions in the most unexpected ways. These plants found themselves stuck in some of the toughest real estate on Earth, places where the soil offered almost nothing they needed to build their bodies. Instead of perishing, they looked up, not down. They evolved ways to harvest nutrients from the air, not the earth below, by capturing the tiny creatures that flew or crawled past. They transformed their leaves into death traps not out of malice, but out of sheer necessity for survival. They are a powerful reminder that life is incredibly resilient and endlessly inventive. In the quiet world of plants, there exists this extraordinary twist, a botanical paradox where the hunted becomes the hunter, fueled by the basic need for the building blocks of life itself. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey into the weird and wonderful world of insect-eating plants. I hope it gave you a new appreciation for the incredible ingenuity of nature. Remember, the world is full of amazing adaptations and survival stories if you just take the time to look. Stay curious, stay amazed, and once again, wishing you all the very best in health and happiness. Take care out there, and I'll see you next time.